In this video I'm talking about this, the Sigma 2470 f2.8 R lens for Sony E-Mount. So first, let's do some housekeeping. If you enjoy this kind of content, photography, video tips, tutorials, reviews, please consider subscribing. It will help hugely to grow this channel. And yeah, let's go right in. Firstly, let's see what's inside the box. Yes, you expect the lens inside the box, and you right, but you also get a little surprise. And the little surprise is this case, padded case. Nice padded fitted case for the 2470. You also get a strap to carry that case on, so if you need something to store the lenses or travel with, that comes in that box. Sweet. So let's talk about the build first. The first thing you notice after taking the lens cap off, the size of that glass, it's huge. This is a 82mm thread. Then the hood, the plastic sun hood for the lens. It has got a button on the side, so it locks really nicely and firmly in place. It doesn't move solid. But there's a one thing which annoys me, is that plastic covering they have put around the lens hood. It's kind of made out of soft, kind of rubbery plastic, and I can tell you that I've been using this lens for 2 weeks now, and it's that rubbery thing on there has attracted every single piece of dust out of my camera bag to it. It looks like I've been using it for a year, and it's literally a brand new lens still. Yeah, it's not a problem, it doesn't affect the picture quality or whatever, but if you are like me, a borderline OCD, and you like your plastic to look shiny, that is very, very frustrating. It's not light lens by any means. It's got a substantial weight to it. You are looking for the lens for event work like weddings or even events. This might be too heavy. I do personally like heavy lenses, and that weight fits my hands right. I do like the weight, but it's not for everyone. Now, it's got 3 different buttons on here. It's got the standard autofocus, manual focus switch. Yeah, some people do use it on the lenses. I personally prefer to program one of the C custom buttons on the back of my camera. I just press the button and I've got a manual or automatic focusing. If you prefer to do it on the lens, it's there. It's got a focus hold button. You can program it on A7 cameras to whatever you want it. Also, it has got a lock button, and that's a little bit confusing because it only works when you zoom the lens out all the way out to 24, it locks, so now you can't pull it out. So I presume that's there if you store the lenses in your camera bag or case this way up. So if you're pulling it out by the top of the lens, it won't come out of the barrel. That brings me to the matter of the barrel. It comes out quite substantially when you zooming in. So that's the thing that's about it about the build. Let's talk about the performance of this lens, and firstly, photography. I have taken this lens to the real world situations. I have put in my camera and I pretty much shot pictures with it every single day for the last 2 weeks. From the moment I have put this lens on the camera, it felt like I had it for months, years even. It just feels like I had it for a long time. It doesn't, there's no learning curve, there's no adjustment or thinking, oh wow, this is like different or whatever. It just feels right. Every time I take a picture with it, it just delivers what I expect to get. I'm only saying this because I have used a lot of lenses over the last few years, and sometimes you have to fight it. Sometimes you have to work a little bit harder to get the results you expect when you see something with naked eye. You take a picture and sometimes just doesn't actually glue. You have to edit more, or you have to think about it more how you do it. With this, somehow it's much easier. I find it easier. It's just what you see is what you get. The bokeh is very smooth. Probably the first thing when you put the zoom lens on the camera, because it is a zoom lens, it's not the prime. You do not expect that blurriness, that shallow depth of field. You don't expect that creaminess. But this lens, it does it at 24mm, the wide end of it, but it gets better and better once you start zooming in. The quality of images and the sharpness is just outstanding. The autofocusing, eye autofocusing just works seamlessly like you would expect from any native lens. And there is almost no chromatic aberration whatsoever. Very, very surprising. I think all the lenses I have got at the moment I'm using do have some chromatic aberration problems. This, in the most difficult situations I have used it, just pretty much none. The lens flare is actually very nice and not really overpowering the picture if you're shooting towards the sun. And the last thing I need to talk about is the focusing distance. This was the biggest surprise. I have never actually used any zoom lens which can focus as close as this. You can almost touch what you're photographing with the end of the lens. Okay, you wouldn't use it on portraits, on people portraits, unless you're photographing someone's nose. But for photographing anything small, close, you can get so nicely and closely to it that you create a different perspective that we are used to. That's another thing about 24-70 zoom, the standard zoom lenses. It never really appealed to me, and somehow this one, it just ticks all the boxes. It just feels right to do pictures with. Yes, the Sigma somehow managed to put sexy into 24-70 f2.8. Yeah, that leaves me pretty much speechless. So let's talk about the important one to me and a lot of you out there, is the video performance. So before we go into details, let's watch this B-roll. The autofocusing, it works very well. It works like any native or even G Master lens. It performs extremely well on the two cameras I have tried it on, which is the A7S II. Yeah, it just focuses smoothly, and even better and slightly quicker on A7 III. Feels like it belongs on a Sony camera. It doesn't feel like you are using non-native lens. If you switch it to manual focusing, the manual focus ring is very nice and smooth. It doesn't have numbers to read the distance you're focusing. It hasn't got the IBIS built in either. I've done a little test here vlogging with it handheld. So the lens hasn't got inbuilt stabilization. So while walking and vlogging like this, the whole setup relies on the camera's IBIS. I'm using A7S II with a 5-axis stabilization, so you should stabilize a little bit the shakiness of my hand and the fact that I'm actually walking and panting. Comparing to 24-105 with the built-in stabilization, the shake is a little bit more pronounced on the Sigma, but it's not a problem really. On a gimbal, it balances just right. It's got a nice weight to it. Yes, again, I have mentioned it before, it's not the lens you would carry in your hand on a camera, on a gimbal for a whole day long. You would know you got it because it weighs a bit. So what is the competition for this? Probably the first thought will be the Tamron 2875 f2.8 lens, but the price range is significantly different. The Tamron in UK at the moment costs just under £700, when this comes at 1,050. Or 1,049 exactly. When there's more of these around and they start coming on the market second hand, I think the second hand price of this is gonna compete with the Tamron lens, and it's priced brand new. The probably most direct competition to this is the Sony 24-105 f4. I've also heard a lot of people saying yes, the 105 it's got that better reach, that better zoom. But for me, coming from prime lenses, if you don't have enough reach, you just go forward a little bit. And I think that applies to the lens like this as well. If you are looking for a standard zoom, the wider aperture of this lens is not just for the lower light situations, but actually I think it creates slightly nicer overall look if you after that kind of a shallow depth of field look. The price of the G Master is I think 1750, 1760, so it's almost double the price of this. I did see some reviews, some comparison between this and G Master, and this seems to be coming out sharper, a little bit sharper. So for the price, why would you really go for anything else, especially that it performs so well in every possible way? So the conclusion, what is my conclusion? Do I like this lens? I think I have said enough times already that I do like it. I have shot with this for 2 weeks, as I said before, and I just cannot fault it. The only fault I can find with this lens is that rubber ring. Sigma has made 2470 f2.8 actually sexy. The way it looks, the way it works, the way it does its job. It's become object of desire. And to say special thanks to UK Digital for lending this to me for this review. And I must say that I'm not sponsored or paid by anyone to say anything specific about this. This is my genuine opinion. I do actually like this lens a lot, and it will definitely be finding its way into my camera bag very, very soon. If you are interested in buying one of those, the link is right below this video. And thank you for watching. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please consider subscribing, and see you next time. The Sigma 2470 f2.8. What? Oh yeah, art lens. Firstly, how many firstly can you do? Let's talk about the surprisingly, I can't talk about this lens anymore.